What's going on, people, and welcome back to another video. Today I've got something very special planned. So I'm going to be redesigning a small business's logo that I've selected, and I'm going to be telling you more about that next. So make sure you stay for the rest of the video. So the business that I decided to select today, I've actually had the pleasure of having direct communication with the owner himself, which is Mark. So shout out to you, Mark, if you're watching this. And I decided to redesign your logo because what you do is super informative, super cool to pay attention to and follow along as your journey is progressing. And if I can help you push that in the right direction, then hopefully we can do this with this video and obviously the logo that I come up with. No pressure. If you don't like what I've come up with, don't worry, you don't have to use it. This is purely down for fun, but I'm hoping by the end of it, we'll have a new logo for you that'll help you, like I say, push you in the right direction. We're gonna have a ton of fun with it, and hopefully we're gonna be doing something which is obviously relevant to what you do, but helps you to stand out as well and become more memorable as the years pass. First thing we're gonna crack on with today is we're gonna work from the ground up. So we're gonna work on the sketches first. We're going to create them into real logos through Illustrator. We're going to pick a few that probably make it to the finalization stages and then break that down into one solid concept. Let's work on the sketches first and then see what we can come up with. I'll be completely honest with you guys, this wasn't my first attempt at sketching these ideas before recording. You can sort of see the previous attempts seep through the page, so I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to pull the wool over your eyes. I did have some brief ideas before starting. So yeah, I did cheat a little, but in all fairness, the designs that I came up with before I wasn't entirely happy with, which is why I decided to start again. As a disclaimer as well, before I start talking about my thought process behind the sketch work, I hope that this footage isn't too jarring. I used my tripod to record the session and it was a little bit janky to work with. Midway through the recording as well, I had to stop until later on in the day, which is why the quality goes from super crispy to looking a little bit like a potato. When I was sketching, I was thinking of ways that I could potentially fit in aspects of a drone or photography, but this wasn't my main priority. What I mainly wanted to do was incorporate themes of nature, as this is something that the business revolves around. I was trying to think a little outside of the box so that we could create something unique and memorable. Mark uses technology to heal the environment, and with his drone photography is able to take geo-referenced maps which tell you exactly what's in a specific area. So things like tree density, foliage, types of plants, where there's wildlife in the area, and other cool stats like that are highlighted in the maps that he creates. I tried to take some inspiration from the original logo, so that's why you'll see me mess around with the idea of using trees. This is an aspect that sits centrally in the current logo Mark uses. I managed to come up with a bunch of unique ideas. In fact, when it came to me working on the concepts, I was a little spoiled for choice. We've got a mix and match of ideas going on here. Some use the S from the business name to create some abstract fun marks. Others are a merge of using the shape of a drone with some floral or natural aspects. And of course, the tree shapes, which I started to really love. Usually it's relatively easy for me to pick a winner straight away, but after putting the sketches together, I couldn't determine which one I preferred. Because I put so many ideas together, it made choosing between them that much more difficult. What might have been a better approach is to just start iterating rather than producing fresh ideas straight away. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is me putting together the first tangible concepts. I'll walk you through some of the challenges I faced when doing that, and try to run you through some of the ideas I decided to take from sketch to logo. Sketches are now in Illustrator and I can finally begin turning these into logos. What I usually do is take a quick photo of my sketchbook, upload this to Google Drive and then download a copy to my PC so that I can add some color correction to make the pencil markings more visible. This is the design stage where I can really start to test out the rough ideas I made during the sketching process, and once an idea has been vectorized, I can quickly identify potential problems and see what might not work as a logo. We made some solid sketches, but there's always room for improvement when recreating them in Illustrator. I'm doing what I can to replicate the look and feel of each and polishing up aspects that I think could use a little bit of TLC. There were 10 concepts in total, each took me around 20 minutes to complete, give or take. So I thought it'd be better to speed things up. One, so you guys aren't bored to death, and two, because if I uploaded the raw footage to YouTube, my internet would most definitely implode. Turning each of these concepts into logos required a slightly different approach, but for the most part I started things off by creating a simple grid so that I could keep things consistent. Some of the ideas were much simpler to put together than others and required less time to create, but with the more abstract designs I had to spend a little bit more time making sure things didn't look out of place or odd. As I know Mark uses his logo on his website and social media pages, I felt like using a grid was the right move so that each concept would fit well within a circular or square boundary. I had Mark's original logo outside of the canvas to remind me of what we're trying to improve upon. By having it off to the side as a reference, it also made eliminating certain concepts from the list easier, knowing that they might not be a better option or suited for what we're trying to achieve. As much as I'd have loved to be able to show you guys what Mark is working with currently, unfortunately I couldn't really find many high resolution images of his logo, but I'll do my best to show you a closer look once we start to slow things down and I can take a deeper dive into the final design I chose. Generally though, with all of these concepts, I've tried to avoid anything that might appear generic. In the current logo, there are elements like a camera shutter lens, which isn't necessarily bad, but when you think about the thousands of other photography or videography type businesses that use this, it's going to be extremely hard to stand out from the crowd taking a similar approach. With this in mind, I believe that the concept I've picked will really help Mark stand out against potential competitors and other business owners in his field. Like I mentioned before, I wanted to take inspiration from the original logo, so I've carried over certain elements with my own unique twist. Now that I've created each concept, let's take a look at the ones that made the final cut. To start refining the list of concepts I came up with, I had to choose between a few variations of logos I'd created. For example, there was a S letter mark in the shape of a tree that I created a couple of versions of, hoping to fix some of the issues I had with legibility. I carried over all of the concepts to one artboard to make directly comparing them easier. I thought about using Mark's brand colour scheme to see how each would look, but just seeing them side by side was enough for me to make a decision. Although I thought this would be a pretty hard decision to make, being that the amount of concepts I came up with was quite overwhelming, it was a lot easier than what I thought. I picked 3 concepts out of the bunch that I believe were the strongest, would fit Mark's brand the most, and ones that felt closest to the original logo. Not exactly, but in terms of the imagery and being close to nature, that's what I was trying to achieve. I know this is an aspect that Mark probably likes about the original design, and I think it makes sense given what he does. After picking the concepts, my plan was to go ahead and start seeing how each logo Mark performs when paired with a suitable typeface, shown in different layouts and lockups, and using the brand colours that Mark uses. At this point though, this is where I kind of got a bit carried away. I used one of the tree logos that I fell in love with from the start as a test run, and I can't lie to you, after seeing how everything started to come together, it was an immediate winner in my eyes. I tried a few of my go-to typefaces like Montserrat, Poppins and Ubuntu, as I know they're quite versatile and go well with various styles. Poppins is what I landed on. It seemed to complement the Mark well, the contrast between the two was something I really liked, and it doesn't look drastically different to what's already being used. Seeing the beautiful emblems, badges and how the horizontal and stacked version of the logo looked, I couldn't see how the other 2 options I selected would bring anything new to the table. The range I was able to get out of the tree logo was incredible, it was versatile and I just loved it. So for now, those concepts as well as the others I've created today have gone in the logo locker for a rainy day, but I'll likely revisit them in the future, especially if you guys want to see it in a future video. All that was left to do was create a polished presentation, showing the logo in all its glory, as well as the various lockups I'd created. So let's take a look and I'll run you through why I chose this design over any of the others and my thought process behind the design. Inspired by a presentation style I keep coming across on Instagram, I decided to lay things out in a very simple way where you can easily see the versatility of the logo, how nice it looks when coupled up with Mark's brand colours, and I couldn't be happy with the outcome. At the end of this video, I'll show you a closer look at each of these slides, so if you'd like to see the final product, make sure you stick around. My idea behind this concept was very simple. I wanted to keep the tree aspect present within the logo mark, as well as the amount of trees and the way they're situated. The original logo uses 3 trees, one in the centre and 2 slightly smaller sections of tree to create the illusion that they're at the back. This aspect I liked about the logo a lot and decided to fit that within my redesign. In our logo there are 3 trees, one in the centre with 2 either side sitting perfectly between each branch. The 2 trees in the back are elevated to create the illusion of them being further back and are slightly smaller with fewer branches. I wanted everything to be full of life, portraying a flourishing landscape, and to do that I added some subtle details like the opening of petals where the centre tree sits, and at the base included curved lines to create a sense of motion, fill some of the empty space, and as a subtle nod to what Mark does with the multi-layered maps he creates. My intention behind this logo was to create various lockups to give Mark the option to use the logo if he likes the design, freely without limitation, having different layouts to accommodate specific needs. I put together a couple of mockups to show how the emblem would look as a sticker and the badge as a pin, as that's how I pictured the logo could be used when I was designing it. And that pretty much sums things up, guys. I don't usually have the opportunity to work on fun challenges like this. It's been such a great experience and I'd love to continue the series if you guys want to see it again. Hopefully we can redesign another small business's logo out there. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions on other small businesses logos you'd like to see me redesign next. I'm trying to provide as much value as I can with this series, so your help would be massively appreciated. And coming up now are the slides I mentioned, so you'll be happy to know I'm gonna shut up and let you take a look through the logo I designed today, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.